This TDF session is all about seeing what you want to see in TDF when you want to see it. So TDF as a program, I say it's frustrating enough when you can find something, but really frustrating when you can't find it even in the first place. There's a lot in TDF, so you just got to be able to find what you're after. So today we're going to look at views and alerts. It can get a little complicated. Mostly what I want you to all get from this is not the exact directions of how to do something, but just to know that you can do it. And then you can always come to me and we can work it out together step by step. But views and alerts are two ways to be sure you see what you want to see, so you find what you want to find. That's what they're all about. So let's start with this. To see something in TDF, you got to have permission to see it, and that is set by an administrator. You must be in a view that doesn't filter out that information that you're looking for. And in some instances, you must have your individual TDF settings correct to view the information. So let's go through those kind of individually here. So what you're able to see in TDF starts with permissions. Permissions will determine which account packages can be viewed by an individual TDF user. So here's a list of our account packages. You see them through here. They're categorized in a number of ways and things you've heard of before, like prospects and projects all. But the main one are these GLs down the middle, such as 6001 for telemarketing, 6003 for chain with service, and on and on. Sales departments, I'll call them. I'm not quite sure what they're called. So just to visualize it here real quick, I'm going to show you user permissions. This is for Bill Roach. An administrator gave him permission to see all these things that are checked, but not the things that aren't checked. So there's no way Bill could see those other things no matter what he tried to do in TDF because he wasn't given permission. All right. One of the permissions I gave Bill was 6001, telemarketing. But even yesterday, even with that permission yesterday, we were trying to figure something out and he couldn't see that. So even with permissions, sometimes something else has to be checked or turned on so that that's available to the TDF user. All right, so again, there's other reasons, even after permissions, that you might not see something. So views are really the key. And I've talked about these before. They're the windows that are created by administrators or individual TDF users to see only certain TDF information. Every time you open a record type, so whether that's activities or emails, accounts, whatever, it opens to a particular view. Now, the view it opens to is determined by some settings in TDF, but here I'll open the record type contacts. I have that open. And the view over here, and where you look to see the view is always over here to the right. The view that it opened to was contacts new prior month. Now, that's a view created by an administrator to only show new contacts created in the prior month. So in this case, and let me get a filter off of there that I have. In this case, the prior month was March. So it's just contacts created and new contacts created in the month of March. Why that view was ever created in the first place, I don't really know. But every record type, opportunities on down the line, have multiple views that were created by an administrator for some reason. Now, in the case of contacts here, you can click on the word views and all the available views come up. These are called global views created by an administrator they are represented by this blue globe here. But fact is, this is always available no matter what the record type. There's always a list of possible views that you can go to that might allow you to find what you're after quicker or see what you're after in the first place. So I could click on any of these and go to that view. I'm not going to do that right now because sometimes it can take a little time to download. But these global views, the views that have this, that are available when this blue globe is available, those are called global views. But there's another type of view also, and this one can really come in handy. It's called a local or personal view. I'm going to call it local from now on, but we can toggle between those two types of views, global and local, by clicking on whatever's available to us here. This is the global, so I click on it. A little house icon comes up. That represents the local views. If I click on views, you see I have a couple local views for contacts. I had created those. Now, that it wasn't for any particular reason that I created them, but any TDF user might have a good reason to create a view to quickly find what they're after without doing a lot of filtering and everything else. So I'll be showing you how to do this in a minute. So to summarize, there are a number of possible views for every record type. They fall into two categories. These are the local views and global views. Local views are created by individual TDF users like any of you. And once you create them, they're only available to you. They are very personal in that case. And on that computer, it's yours on that computer. Nobody else can even see them. Global views, which we'll switch to here. And I want to go back to new prior month, but these are the global views. They're created by an administrator and available to all TDF users. So global, all can see it. Local, only the person and a TDF user that created it can see it and use it. So you might want to eventually, all of you might want to create your own local views. That's determined obviously by what you do in TDF, but it allows you to quickly look at the information you're interested in and only the information you're interested in, not what everybody else wants to see, but what you want to see. And that happens because you've created it to filter out what you don't want to see and keep what you do. I'll show you how easy it is here to create a local view. Now, again, there's a few steps, but I can go through it pretty quickly. And then if any of you want to do this, I'll be happy to take your phone call and help you through it. So I'm on global views. I have new prior month view open. This view contains everything I want to see in my view that I want to create, but it has some things that I don't want. What I want are just account package, PROS. So I've got prospects. I want to create a local view that only contains contacts for prospects that are newly created in March of 2016. Now, would I ever really need to do that? No, but in activities and in other type of record types, there may be a lot of reasons why a person may want to whittle it down to just those things that they want to look for all the time. If you only, if it's something you're looking for once every year, well, no big deal not to have that view available. But if you want to go and see something once a week or every day or what have you, it's nice to have a view available so you don't have to do all the filtering and all the other things. So I have whittled this down to what I want it to be as a view. I want a view that contains just this. So I right-click there and go to Manage Grid. And again, these are the things you're not going to remember probably, but but I want you to know that it can be done. This is a grid manager. There are different types of filters. You wouldn't know this, but I'm going to client-side filter, and it shows that filter that I actually put in here. Account package begins with PROS. So this grid manager knows what I'm looking for. So I'm just going to save it. I want to create it as a personal view. So I click on that. And hopefully this will work. A while ago I had trouble with it, but I'm hoping that it will work. So now when I go to my personal views, I have, oh, I know, I forgot to do one thing. I'm sorry, I forgot to do one thing, but understand that had I done that last little part, I would have that view, that local view here that I just created in like 3 or 4 steps. I don't want to go through it again. I just forgot something right at the end. But I would have a new view here that quickly off of a previous existing view. I created a new one very, very quickly, and I made it a local view so I could go to it that quick. Okay, so again, you're not going to remember all that, how I did it, but give me a call and we can create local views together. They could be very convenient for a lot of you who use TDF quite a bit. So you kind of see the value in views. When you first open any record type, look to see what view you're in. That is key. So now, why did a certain view open when I first opened TDF this morning? Why, when I went to contacts, did this particular view open? Why wasn't it one of the other views? So let me tell you this, an administrator sets a default for those kind of things. What opens when you open a record type? So if you just want to keep those defaults, that's fine. But every TDF user can actually override those defaults, or they can choose to keep them. That takes me to another spot here in TDF. So I just went through how to create a local view and the fact that there's local views and global views. Now I'm going to switch from that and tell TDF what I want it to open when I open a certain record type, what view I want to have open up. So I go up here. This is called the Select Home Account Packages, way up in the upper left. Click on it and I go to Manage Preferences. Now, there are a couple valuable options in Manage Preferences, Manager's Preferences. First, you can determine what record type opens when you first start up TDF. So, is it accounts that open when you first start TDF? Is it strategic plans? Is it tasks? You can determine that. I have a default for all of you for accounts. So that's what probably opens for most of you. But if you don't want that to be the case, you can change it right here. This is the area. Right now, my TDF opens to the activities because I have it checked here. If any of you wanted it to open to something else, you would go to Modify. Over here on the right, you would uncheck what you don't want it to be anymore and check what you do. So I'm going to say I want emails. I want that record type to open when I first start up in the morning. Click on email. Click on save. Again, some steps that you're not going to remember, but I want you to know that you can do it. So now if I shut down TDF and started it back up, email records would be what first opened at that time because I've selected that, and this overrides the default. Excuse me. And you all could do that for whatever purposes. So I can also determine which view opens when that first record type opens in the morning, and which view opens as I open any other record types. So it's one thing to say emails open up when I first start TDF, but what view is it in when it opens? And a user was asking me about this just the other day. So that's determined, the view that opens is determined over here. So I'm on the accounts line, I am. So currently when I open accounts, it opens automatically to this global view, accounts all active, because I have it set here. I select a different view, one that is more appropriate for me, because this is all a personal choice thing. I could select any view that is available, and once I did, that's the view that would open when I first open accounts, whenever that is during the day. And I did that for all these others too. So, you know, is this a big deal, what I'm showing you right now? You know, why not just let the default download when I open TDF and then change it to another view if I want to? Well, you know, the advantage is, why open a great big long grid containing a lot of stuff you're not going to use? Why not just simplify TDF? Why not have TDF automatically open just the information you want most often? A view that has all that unnecessary information filtered out. Now, the other part of that is, especially for remote users, it means shorter download times. So it gets you to what you're most often after quicker. If my computer right now, if I shut down TDF and reopened it, and I had account summary, or no, let's say activity summary checked to open when I first opened TDF, and this default view, I think, is activities all active or something like that. Well, it's like 70,000 activities would load. Well, out here in Missouri, that takes about 5 minutes. So I don't want that to be, you know, I want something else to open that's shorter. If I need to open all activities later, I'll do it, but I'd rather simplify TDF, get up on there what 90% of the time I'll be using anyway. You can keep the default view, and I actually have this with activities right now. With tasks, I have a global view selected, tasks all. But you see, I've made my own choice here. Activity summary is the only one where really it's going to be the default. The other ones I've said, heck with the default. I want this to open, this view to open when I first open that record. So again, default views are determined by an administrator, but they can be overridden by an individual TDF user to serve their purposes. And that is accomplished. I'm going to close this up once, but I'm going to reopen it. That's accomplished over here in the upper left. Select Home Account Packages and go to Manage Preferences. And that window opens that allows you to do a variety of things. Now, one other element related to what you can see in TDF and when. I mentioned earlier that how permissions are set by an administrator determines what you're allowed to see in TDF. Now, those permissions are visible here in this same window, this window where we determined what opens and when, what views open and when. It's this area, I believe, right up here, but more so, it's in Manager's Council Preferences. Click on Modify. Keep this on Account Packages. Go to Next. again, for all of you, it's a case of knowing you can do this. It brings up all the account packages that you have permission for. So all of you would maybe, your list would look different than mine does, because I have permissions basically for everything. But the thing to check here is that what you want to see is checked. Because again, this is manager's preferences. So this kind of overrides things, and it even overrides, to a degree, it overrides permissions. If I unchecked that and closed this, even though I had permissions to see 6,000 independent with service, because I unchecked it, I wouldn't be able to anymore. So you want to be sure that things are checked in here. And I didn't know about this till recently. I'm happy, TDF finally told me about it. Because I had an instance with Bill Roach yesterday. I don't know if he's on the call here, but he couldn't open 6001 telemarketing. He couldn't see those accounts. So I said, well, your permissions must not allow you to. I went to permissions, and sure enough, 6001, he was permitted to see them. But then with TDF's help, we came here, and that was unchecked. So we just had to check that, and he should be able to see them now. So this manager's preferences, I'm going to show you how to get to it again. Up to this selection, go to manage preferences. We know about this area down here. That's where we determined if we wanted to override some views or what opened when. This area was to allow us to make permission account packages active or inactive. So I go to modify. This is already on account packages. I go to next, and I can check and uncheck what I want to be able to see. Now, again, this can work the opposite way of checking it. If something is here that you simply never want, you never are going to have to see that information, well, uncheck it. It's okay. I've given you permission, but you've overridden it, basically. But at least you won't have to take the time to download that information when you're never going to need it, never going to use it. All right? I didn't mention it, but if you go to that manage preferences and you don't see an account package that you do want to see, that does mean that your permissions are not allowing you if you don't see it in that list that I just closed. So you definitely would want to call me and say, Robert, I can't even check it if I wanted to. It's not here. Well, that's a permission issue then, and I'd have to grant you permission there. Understand, too, that with some of these updates or changes or overrides or whatever, sometimes they might not go into effect until you refresh. And in some cases, they might not go into effect unless you close and reopen TDF. That would be pretty rare, but that could happen. Okay, so remember that this training session is all about seeing what you want to see when you want to see it. So remember this list, more or less. This is a summary. Remember, first, you got to have permission to view something. That starts with an administrator granting you that permission. Then you have to have the right view selected to see what you want to see. You might be looking through a view, through a window that's filtered out what you want to see. So be sure you have the right view. You can create your own local view. If you don't like the list that somebody has made in global, then go to local and create your own. Maybe somebody out there just wants to see, let's say new independents. So independents that became active accounts in the last month. Well, we could end up making a view that allows you to quickly see all that and not go through all the filtering and everything you might have to otherwise. you can control what record type. So I'm talking about accounts, activities, all those kind of record types. You can control what opens when you first fire up TDF in the morning. You know, call and I can help you with that. Is it a big deal? Not necessarily, but you can affect that. You can control what view opens as you open each record type, and I can help with that. So when you click on opportunities, what view is going to open it right away? What's going to be available right away? You can determine that. You can control which permissions you've been granted are actually active or inactive. That was the last thing I showed you, where we had a list of account packages and you were able to check or uncheck it. If one of those is unchecked, you're not going to be able to see that account package's information. All right. So I hope to be creating and posting some bulletins for what we've gone over today. Now, I've got some more stuff to go. I know I sound like I'm closing this out, but I got a little more to go. But these bulletins hopefully will be entitled How To, and I would like them to be like how to create a local view, how to determine what view opens when a record type is open, those type of how-to bulletins. So hopefully I'll be getting those out there, because that's really what you need to follow up to this, because everything I'm talking about has certain steps involved to achieve it. And obviously I'm going through quite a bit of stuff, hard to remember it all. And also, you know, hopefully this recording will be on L&R University later today. It'll be on there eventually, maybe tonight or tomorrow. Now, another element in TDF that can help you see what you want to see when you want to see it. Alerts and notifications is what they're called. TDF administrators can set up mailings that send email messages out automatically to TDF users that displays information related to records that have been created or modified in TDF. So in other words, an email message goes out automatically to a TDF user that displays certain information that's in TDF, that was created and put in TDF. So instead of describing that or trying to any further, I'll show you one. So let's, I hope this is still open. There we go. I have this one come to me, and I think it even goes out to some other people as well. Every morning I get this email message. It's from tdfadmin@llrdis.com. It was created by an administrator. It has, this particular alert has 3 notifications. It has my activities in progress. So in other words, any activity that I created in TDF whose status is in progress, let's say, as opposed to a status of closed, that's going to come to me. So if I created it and it's in progress and it's an activity, I'll see it here. The second alert or notification is all activities in progress. So not just the ones I created, but that anybody created. If it exists in TDF and it's an activity in progress, then I'm going to see it here. The last one is my activities created yesterday. So anything that I created, activities in TDF, would be right here. I didn't create any yesterday, so there are none here. I get this alert every morning. You can also, when you get this alert, you can see, I mean, it gives you a lot of information just in this grid-like area about whatever it is you're having sent in the alert. So in this case, this was an activity that's in progress. It may be a real old one. I don't know how these are in order, but it just says a lot through here about what that activity was all about, why it was created, what's going on with it. But if you want to, You can also just click on the open here, and it's a link. It'll take you straight to this particular record in TDF. So if you want to see more about it. Here's another example of an alert. This one goes out to Cedric Esprit every morning. But this one is particular for Brookshire activities. And it's the Brookshire activities that have been created since the last mailing. So if he gets this every day, it's the Brookshire activities in the last 24 hours when he gets this. So he's got 6 new ones here. So if he's the account manager over Brookshire, he gets to see right away in the morning without actually getting into TDF and getting the right view or filtering. They're right here. Anything created, and he can look under, the next action step or wherever in here that tells him whether maybe he needs to be very aware of that or he needs to do something with it. Brookshire activities since last mailing. Debbie K. and Elizabeth, I think you both received a mailing that, again, basically tells them about any activities that they created that are still in progress. So they get that email message, that email alert in the morning. They know right away what activities they really are still working on because they're still in progress. And, it's nice to have them just available to you in a regular email right away. The whole thing is with these alerts, almost any information in TDF can be used to create an alert. So say someone wants an email alert telling them that a strategic plan they created has been updated. Well, we can create an alert for that. Someone wants an email alert for any tasks that have been assigned to them. We can do that. That would be a daily reminder of that TDF user's active tasks. Somebody wants an email alert containing all activities created this past week for Safeway that are tagged as a complaint. We can do that. We can do all that filtering to make the alert very particular for what you want to see in the morning. If it's information in TDF, we can probably turn it into an alert. Okay? So there you go. I've gone through some of the ways I think are most important for all of you to be able to see what you want to see and find what you want to find in TDF. I have people call me now and then and say, I can't find something. Why can't I find such and such? Well, they're not in the right view, or they don't have the right permission, or something in their managed preferences is checked or unchecked that shouldn't be. All those things can determine that. You have a little control over that and some other things having, that now that I've shown you this. So I'm going to actually, that's about it.